I love starting businesses. I actually started my first one when I was in high school. And when I got up to college, I started what is now one of my current companies, 352 Inc. My freshman year, I just had a lot of fun. My sophomore year, I was actually kind of itching to do something a little bit entrepreneurial, to work, and also to have a little bit of spending money, you know? And so I guess the traditional way of thinking would be, well, go get a job at the campus bookstore or something like that. I said, why not just do something on my own? And back then, this was 1997, the web was still in its infancy. I knew from just some self-study how to create basic websites. And there were a lot of businesses who were getting online for the very first time. And so I basically hung out a shingle. I went to some local trade shows in my college town, and I put some ads up on the internet and said, I'll design your company website. And I was real inexpensive. I think I was charging $49 at the beginning to design a web page. But they were simple. They weren't real graphical. It wasn't real intensive like the web is today. That's how I got my start. And I started doing it with a couple buddies of mine while I was in college. We all worked around our class schedules, so we all just put in whatever time we could around our classes. And over the next 2 years, we had actually built up about 30 clients who we had built their websites and we were actively adding to their websites. We actually, going into our senior year, had to make a decision as to whether we were going to pursue it full time or whether we were going to stick with school full time because it was becoming too difficult to balance both. So I decided to stick with it full time. I did eventually graduate, a little bit late, but I told my parents I would, so I did. And started hiring some people, and you know, that's really how we got going. When you're young is actually a fabulous time to start a business because you have less commitments in your life. You don't have a mortgage, you don't have car payments, you don't have kids. So you can take a risk and you can fail, and there can be less repercussions if that's the case. I think that's a great time to start a business. Of course, I also think, you know, there's many great times in your life to start a business too. So you don't just have to be young, but if you have the opportunity to do it when you're young, I think it's a really great thing to do. So that's what I did. I started my current business while I was in college, and by the time I graduated, had 8 employees. We're a digital product development agency, so we build complex websites and apps for startups and for large corporations. I've also, over the course of time, done several other entrepreneurial ventures. I actually owned some Ben & Jerry's ice cream franchises and started a handful of online businesses, digital products, one of which was actually acquired at the end of last year by a Fortune 500 company. So I love doing, I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking. Even if you're within an organization, I think entrepreneurial thought can be something that can help propel you forward no matter if you're starting a business or not.